Hi, this is Radio K, and I'm here with Mario Buckley.
Hello.
Hello. All right, we're gonna jump right into it. And kind of, what was your first introduction to music? What was that spark?
Yeah, I have a brother who's a singer-songwriter, and he was kind of influential in me getting out there because, for a long time I just wanted to play covers at open mics, but I started to write songs when I was about 3 years into doing that. So, I've always really liked music. I've always kind of been a burned CD on the headphones kind of person, and now it's fun to sort of take that on.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you're from like Calgary, right?
Yeah, originally.
You grew up there?
Yeah.
All right. So what was like the influence of Calgary and that on your music and your musical journey?
Well, I mean, at first, Calgary's it's a western town, right? So it's got such a huge country music influence. So I think first off, it was mostly like the sound was very country, but it's also a super rigid and kind of conservative place to grow up. So in my later tunes, I think a lot more of that kind of came out. But first off, it was mostly just kind of the country music sound of the region for sure.
Yeah, so that kind of country music has had a lot of influence on your own music, but your sound has changed and grown throughout the years. Kind of how would you define your style of music comparatively?
Yeah, I mean, now I kind of would call it alt country Americana. I sort of jokingly call it synth country now, because that's kind of what it is. But yeah, it's just kind of off the beaten path, but still sort of in the same vein.
Yeah, kind of your own direction with it.
Yeah, I think so.
Really cool, really cool. And so, I don't know too much about Calgary. What is the music scene like there?
It's good. It's we're a city that had a big oil boom in the 90s and early 2000s, so there was a lot of people working. There's a lot of cover bands. And then, kind of right before the pandemic and during, there was a big dunk. So it's been tough, I think, for a lot of people. I know a lot of people moved, myself included. I moved up to Edmonton, but Calgary's music scene is still super strong. There's a lot of good performers coming out there, and a lot of great songwriters, too.
Yeah, so you said you moved up to Edmonton. What has that been like? How has that changed kind of the trajectory of what you're doing?
Edmonton kind of just has a different vibe. I don't know how to explain it except that it's because it's a bit of a smaller community and it's landlocked and like nobody really wants to live there. There's a lot of great musicians that end up just kind of living out the long winters writing songs. So I feel very at home there, as opposed to Calgary, which is a really strange thing. But
yeah, do you have some like favorite venues in Calgary and Edmonton?
Totally.
Yeah.
Calgary has the Ironwood. I think that's like the best sounding room in the city. I also really like Festival Hall. And then in Edmonton, we're kind of struggling for venues right now. We just had a bunch shut down. But I really like the Aviary and the Starlight Room are both great rooms.
Cool. And kind of moving, you performed last night, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was great. I like, the showcase things are so funny. It's like, people are here to schmooze and meet, and it's like if you put too much pressure on it to be like a really important thing, then you get stressed out. But I had a really fun time. I just played at the tent at Swan Dive there, and there were people boozing, and some people were listening, and it was really fun.
Awesome. Yeah, so is this your first trip to South by Southwest?
It is, yeah. I was in Austin last month for a tour, but This is my first time here.
It's not your first trip to Austin, first
No.
trip to South by. So what has the just South by experience been like outside of performing?
It's wild. It's crazy, man. It's pretty overwhelming. Yeah, but also really fun. It's got a lot of vibrance, a lot of stuff going on. So it's been really fun just to walk around and check it out.
Yeah. You see any good shows?
Not yet. Yesterday I was pretty attached to the Canada House, but I'm hoping to go see some stuff today after I'm done.
Oh. And here, what's the best thing you ate?
Oh, I haven't eaten anything good yet, but I hear there's oysters in Austin. I know that's weird, but I want to go eat oysters.
Oysters in Austin. Ooh. I wouldn't expect that to be like an Austin thing, but sounds good.
Someone told me they're here, so I'm gonna go find them.
You go find those. And on like the South by side and the influence it has on artists, what do you said that a lot of people like networking, meeting other people. You think it's a good just South by Southwest as a whole is a good opportunity for artists to grow and reach out?
Totally. I think if you've got like simple, clear goals of like a couple people you want to meet and you want to get them to your show, it can be really manageable if you don't bite off too much for sure. But it is one of the better conferences I've been to for sure.
Cool. And you were touring a bit last year, right? You went through Canada and up to Sweden. What was that experience like?
Oh, it was great. It was really busy. I was gone for like 3 months back to back. So I was pretty tired. And then I was just gone for another month in February, but I love to tour, so it was fun.
Yeah, you were touring with Matt Anderson.
That's right.
In February, right?
Yeah.
Oh, how was that? How was the music and where did you go, kind of thing?
It was great. We did 14 states and 20 shows in 23 days, and it was awesome. I got to do all of the California, New Mexico, Colorado, Missouri. I was in Texas, and then Georgia and Tennessee. It was fucking wild. But
You were running.
we were going, but it was really fun. Really good tour. Great rooms, nice people. Can't complain.
Cool. Then you opened for Orville Peck, right?
You bet.
That's insane. That's so cool.
It was so cool. Yeah, 2 nights in my hometown last summer, in like a 1,200 cap room, and it was awesome. His show was unbelievable.
Wow, he's such a huge performer. We have him at the radio station, and his music's great. So you have to meet him as a person though a little bit.
Not really.
Not really?
He's pretty like he's got a bit of a team kind of
Okay.
around him, I think. So we did like kind of get to exchange like thanks at the end of it, but he's pretty up in his, which is fair enough. I think he's got to protect the the identity a little bit.
The mysterious.
A little bit, yeah, which I kind of appreciate, to be honest.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you said earlier that one of the reasons you've gotten into music more is your brother plays, right? And you released a song with him over the winter, didn't you?
We did, yeah. We did a cover tune of an old Canadian classic.
Yeah. So do you guys jam together a lot? What is your relationship with him and then with music?
We get on really good. He's got 2 kids, and when I'm in town, I go over and babysit, and we'll play for them sometimes. And we do usually like a handful of shows together every year, mostly just because it's so fun for both of us, and it's just a different thing than both of our projects.
Yeah. So what is his music style, and how does that differ from yours? But then how do they kind of come together?
I would say Tim exists kind of more in the like singer-songwriter folk world, sort of very reminiscent of like Guy Clark and Townes Van Zandt and that sort of stuff. And we just come together because we grew up listening to so much of the same stuff, and I think we both have a shared appreciation for the craft of songwriting. So very different kind of sounding records, but very similar sounding voices, and very similar people. We're super like we're almost identical.
Yeah, so you emphasize some of that songwriting, and your music has a lot of kind of a little bit of storytelling through it. Kind of what inspires your music and the songwriting behind it? Kind of tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of always been like a catharsis thing. It's like a way to challenge things that I'm thinking, or things that I've been through, or things that I'm feeling. It's very self-involved, but the nice thing is that the way that I write often lends itself for people to feel like they're also part of that, or like they've experienced something similar. So my songwriting style is mostly just to be very true to myself and my experiences, try and use them as a mirror for people to see themselves in it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We're not going to hold you here much longer. So this has been Radio K, and I was here with Mariel Buckley, and it has been a wonderful time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Grace.
Yeah, Radio K.